Today, I'm going to talk about something that most of us avoid discussing, something that you've probably heard about but never really given much thought to: pornography. It seems like a trivial topic, right? Something you can control, something that doesn't really affect your life. Maybe you're thinking, I'm an adult, I know what I'm doing, this won't impact me. But if you stop for a second to reflect, you'll realize that this behavior is quietly destroying you. Pornography isn't just a fleeting pleasure, a momentary satisfaction that you choose. No, it's a trap, an illusion that slowly erodes your ability to connect with reality. It will distort your relationships, steal your mental health, and turn you into someone you never imagined you'd become. It might sound extreme, but believe me, I'm talking about something that affects millions of people in ways no one is talking about. And what's worse, you might not even notice how much it's controlling your life until it's too late. Now, I know a lot of people will watch this video and think, oh, this isn't for me. I know how to control it. I've been there. I thought the same. But the truth is, porn addiction isn't something you choose. It's something that began as an instant need and turned into a mental and emotional prison. I'm going to show you how this addiction doesn't just steal your pleasure. It destroys your self-esteem, your intimacy, and your ability to live an authentic and fulfilling life. If you truly want to understand how pornography is shaping your life and why you need to break free from it, stay with me until the end of this video. I'm going to show you the raw reality of this situation and, more importantly, how you can take the first step to free yourself from the shadow that's hanging over you. Pornography may seem harmless at first, just a moment of pleasure, a quick fix, something you can control. But believe me, that's just an illusion. When you start consuming pornography, it begins to create a void inside you, and that void grows over time. Because the pleasure it provides is fleeting, but the consequences last much longer. The worst part is, you don't even realize this is happening until you find yourself trapped in a cycle that's hard to escape. Have you ever caught yourself, at some point, thinking that what you see on screen could really be possible? That those situations, those bodies, that kind of sex, those perfect moments, are what you should expect from life? Well, that's exactly what pornography does. It creates a parallel world, a completely unreal world where everything seems perfect. Sex is always exciting, always easy, always available, but none of that is real. Real life doesn't work like that. Real sex is much more complex. It requires more than just fleeting pleasure. It requires respect, communication, connection, and above all, trust. And it's exactly here where pornography starts to affect your relationships. It creates unrealistic expectations, an ideal of pleasure that can never be achieved in real life. As you get used to the fantasies of pornography, you start losing pleasure in real-life experiences. You feel frustrated because, in your mind, nothing can be as exciting as what you saw on screen. Your partner starts to seem too ordinary, and you begin to search for something more intense, something further from reality. But nothing will satisfy you because you're addicted to the fantasy. This slowly destroys your ability to authentically connect with another person, and your relationship begins to break down under the constant search for something unattainable. This process gradually destroys relationships. And this doesn't just happen with romantic relationships. Pornography affects how you relate to others in your life, friends, family, even colleagues at work. You begin to emotionally disconnect, to pull away from genuine relationships, to live in a world that only exists inside your head. You start seeing people as objects, especially women, and that's not healthy. The way you view sex becomes distorted. You start seeing everything as a transaction, a trade of pleasure without considering the person on the other side. The impact of pornography goes beyond the emotional. It deeply affects your mental health. Pornography creates an expectation of instant gratification, a quick high, but that's a poison disguised as pleasure. Once you get used to that, you begin to think that real pleasure, the pleasure of the little things, no longer matters. You become accustomed to the quick dopamine hit that pornography gives you, and it affects your ability to feel satisfied with simple, real-life experiences. You become unsatisfied, anxious, and often depressed because the pleasure you're seeking through pornography is false pleasure. And the worst part is, the more you indulge in this addiction, the further you get from reality. You enter a vicious cycle. The pleasure pornography offers is temporary, but the emptiness it leaves is permanent. This drives you to look for more and more, always stronger, always more intense. And the more you search, the farther you get from a real, fulfilling life. Your self-esteem starts to crumble. You feel inadequate, like you're never enough. This doesn't just affect how you see yourself. It affects how you relate to others, to the people who really matter. Furthermore, pornography addiction affects your sexual performance. This is one of the most devastating effects. Your brain becomes conditioned to artificial stimuli, and you begin to need more and more to feel satisfied. This affects your ability to get aroused with real sex, with a real partner. It leads to sexual dysfunctions, like difficulty maintaining an erection, lack of desire, and a feeling of inadequacy, that you're no longer capable of being satisfied with real sex. But pornography doesn't just affect your mental health, and your sex life. It also steals your time, your energy, your productivity. How many hours have you already wasted in front of the screen? And that time could have been spent on things that really move you forward. You could have been learning something new, practicing a sport, improving your health, building a more fulfilling future. Instead, you choose to lose yourself in a virtual world that has no substance, that doesn't take you anywhere. And when you wake up from that illusion, you realize you've lost something far more important: control over your own life. But here's the good news. Yes, it's possible to break free from this vicious cycle. Yes, it's possible to change your life. When you decide to stop consuming pornography, life begins to change in ways you couldn't imagine. The satisfaction you find in real things and real relationships will be far more fulfilling than any fake pleasure you had before. You begin to regain control of your life, to feel more confident, more motivated, more connected to who you really are. Now, I know this process isn't easy. I've been there. I know how hard it is to make the decision to stop. But I'm telling you this from the heart. The transformation you'll experience is worth every bit of effort. When you decide to stop consuming pornography, you'll discover a new world. One where true connection and satisfaction exist. A world where you can be the best version of yourself, where you can build healthy relationships, where you can be more productive, more happy, and far more fulfilled. The journey of transformation begins with one step, and that step is the decision to change. If you're ready for that, I'm here to support you on this journey. Don't wait any longer. The time to change is now. Change begins with a decision. Today is the day to take the first step toward a fuller, more real life. Don't wait any longer. Don't let the addiction steal more of your time. I know you can do this. So, subscribe to our channel, share this video with someone who also needs to hear this message, and start your journey today. We'll see you in the next video, and remember, the transformation starts now.